Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Crypto prices are plummeting, XRP along with the rest of the asset class, down to $2.07 at the time I'm recording this. Bitcoin down to $82,324. Warnings that prices could go a fair bit lower, including for XRP, before we finally see some true support step in and finally a rebound here. I will just tell you this, though, and this is just my humble opinion, it does not make sense to be fearful right here, even if the market goes a bit further, even if XRP drops lower. And there's one really popular chart analyst who warns, yeah, XRP thinks there's a really good chance it's going to perhaps drop as low as about $1.60, but there aren't many analysts calling for that. So we'll see what happens, but as one analyst puts it, and we'll get into it a little bit later in the video, as it pertains to XRP specifically, sellers are in control, but doesn't mean it's going to be like that forever. There are lots of reasons to be very optimistic. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it is Saturday, March 29th, 2025, 6:55 a.m. Central, which is my time zone. And the last 24 hours hasn't been very fun for a lot of crypto holders, but I insist this doesn't matter. So right out the gate, let's talk about a primary reason it doesn't make sense to be fearful here. And look, I've highlighted this so many times over the years. The thing that drives crypto markets, it's global liquidity. As global liquidity increases, ultimately, there's a little bit of a lag time, but the stock market and the crypto asset class, they're beneficiaries of this, because as global liquidity increases, people are going to put funds somewhere. And where does it go? Well, into risk-on assets, as it turns out. And so there's this post by Raoul Pal. I shared this with his 1.1 million followers. He's a former Goldman Sachs executive. He happens to be holding XRP, by the way. And he's the founder of Real Vision. I just say this, he knows his stuff. He's one of the guys out there that's definitely worth listening to, very data-driven. And his whole background, career-wise, is in finance here. And he keeps consistently pointing this out. He pointed out the following. He says, the waiting game is almost over. The 10-week lead is my preferred, ... but. And so what is he showing here? Well, the black line is the global M2 10-week lead. So that's the most liquid money just about on the planet. Well, technically M1 would be, but it's some of the most liquid money out there. And then you have, so you can see the correlation here, the pink line, that's the price of Bitcoin. So again, there's a 10-week lead time because as liquidity increases or goes out, like, Bitcoin, it responds to it. That's where the correlation comes in. So by looking at what's happening with global liquidity, you can get a pretty good idea of what's going to happen with Bitcoin and thus the entire crypto asset class. And so there are these 4-year cycles of global liquidity, and that's what's actually causing it. It's not the Bitcoin halving. It's just kind of interesting that there is a correlation there, but correlation isn't always causation. So there's the correlation with the halving. Sure, that's the way it was programmed by Satoshi Nakamoto, but there are other things with 4-year cycles like the United States election. I mean, I would argue that global liquidity is probably a little bit more of a cause factor there. But still, the point is, as you can see, again, with the going up, is this the point where like the correlation just breaks? This chart's going back to 2023 here, and he's shown longer ones before. And so there's a lead time, and you can debate what the proper lead time is. At this point, we're kind of splitting hairs, but there's a post. This is written by Julian Biddle, who also works at Raoul Pal's GMI, the Global Macro Investor with Real Vision. And so here's what he wrote. He was having a little fun with the way that he worded this. So he thinks that a 12-week lead makes more sense. But again, even if that's correct, we're splitting hairs here at this point. The point is we're at this moment where we're in this bottoming zone. And so here he wrote, this is Julian Biddle now, also with GMI Real Vision. It says global M2 versus Bitcoin. He says, additionally, we've now mostly closed the gap versus global M2 based on the 12-week lead, which is my preferred lead, and of course the superior lead time compared to Raoul's preferred 10-week lead, haha. The first week of April marks the bottom for the white line before we start moving higher again. So, unless you think this time is different, and they consistently highlight this, number ultimately go up. And frankly, as I keep highlighting, there's all sorts of other considerations you can take a look at. We're not seeing top indicators. So here's a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto. He said, interestingly, none of the crypto top signals have been hit this cycle. He's got this big list of about 30 different indicators. And I'll let the chart analysts out there debate if it's true that all of these are important top indicators, and that's fine. But even if they're not all important, because look, mind you, I don't think that the average person out there needs to be looking at 30 different metrics, in particular if you're not a chart guy. But the point is, there are certain key things that you can look at from how humans behave, which are of critical importance. And there are certain things that have always been the case that have been marks of the top of cycles. They're just not happening yet. So unless this time is actually different, the top is not in. And so fine, sometimes you can actually have something that happens in life for the first time and it actually is legitimately different, and maybe even to a staggering degree. That's almost never the case, though. So given that we're talking about probability of outcome here, no, I don't think, despite this most recent price action to the downside, XRP, I actually saw it $2.06 before I hit record here. Just because XRP has gotten down to that and maybe it goes lower, that doesn't mean the party's over. It just doesn't, and chart analysts like Mikey Bull Crypto very obviously get that. Here's a post from chart analyst Mustache. This resonated with me. He said, hashtag altcoins. Looks like most people have given up. It really feels like 2022 bottom vibes. Anyone else here who believes in new highs in 2025? Yeah, I do. I'm raising my hand right now. Absolutely, I believe in that. I think that's most probable. And because if it's not, that really means that this time actually is different. But yes, I was here in 2022. I remember how fearful people were after FTX collapsed, and people were screaming it's just going to go lower and lower and lower, and sentiment was in the gutter. And sentiment's in the gutter kind of right now, isn't it? I do not believe for a moment it is most likely that the end is here. It just doesn't make sense. And then you're telling me what, global liquidity increases, and then what? People have no interest in investing in risk in this environment? I don't find that to be probable. Here's another post from Mustache. This is the crypto total market cap on your screen. He says, why so worried? This is just chop before it goes higher, significantly higher. Take a look at 2020/2021. Everything goes according to plan for weeks. As long as the structure doesn't change, everything is fine. Yeah, and so one of the messages that I've been highlighting in recent days is that although the market, the price action, the volatility may be scaring some of you out there, it's within a specific range. And I'm not seeing out of the analysts I follow, who of course accurately call the bottom for the market, including with Bitcoin. None of them have flipped and said, "Oop, well, I guess that's really it now. It's over." I don't think any of them have. I can't think of one off the top of my head who accurately called the bottom for Bitcoin and thus the beginning of the fun part of this cycle. I don't think any of them have flipped. And so I'm going to go with the people that have shown a pretty good track record. I'm going to listen to them more closely. You know what I'm saying here? And then you can find tons of people arguing that it's actually over. They're all over the place. But they a lot of them thought that the market was going to go way lower, and it actually bottomed a couple years ago. So just saying, folks. Here's a post from the blockchain backer. He simply wrote, wild week in stocks. The Russell 2000 maintained the 200-week moving average. Magnificent 7 taking a beating. The tech mega cap momentum is gone. The big question, will small and mid caps finally be the recipient when the animal spirits return? Well, that's the question. He's been talking about this a lot for, I don't know, probably months at least at this point, on and off. Is this going to be an interesting cycle where, something a metric, a factor could be a little bit different, and you're going to see, rather than explosive moves higher for some of these stocks, you're going to see more of a rotational bit of price action playing out. But look, even if that's the case here, and you know that there's this correlation here, if you're talking about small and mid-cap stocks going up, well, that's what coincides with altcoins going up, alt season, which is what we're here for. That would be incredible for XRP. People they just go further out the risk curve. So that would be fantastic if true. Here's a post from chart analyst Credible Crypto. This is a Bitcoin price chart. He said, yeah, and by the way, this is just from last night. This is at 10:04 p.m. Central, so about, 9 hours or so ago. He posted, yeah, so Bitcoin is still stuck right in the middle of the range we've been working with on lower time frames. This move down so far is just more chop within this range, nothing special. And folks, that's a key takeaway here. I understand that this price action scares people. This is normal in crypto. Welcome to crypto. Then he says, approaching a local demand zone that could mark a local bottom before another push into supply above. If this level is lost, then we eye up range lows for a potential triple tap, and if that level is lost, then the higher time frame demand that I've marked off months ago would finally come into play. Yes, lots of possibilities / options at the moment, and chop to be expected within a range like this. Just have to keep being patient and letting things develop. And so you'll notice that his conviction hasn't changed based on short-term price action, which is scary to people that are not used to this environment. He still firmly believes Bitcoin's probably going to peak somewhere around $150,000. He believes XRP will peak somewhere between 20 to 30 bucks. That doesn't change, even though he does believe that there's a good chance XRP goes lower. And there's a poster on your screen right here where he was indicating that there's actually a good chance that XRP, you're going to see it drop to $1.60 to $1.80. And he could be right. That's a minority opinion currently. It's hard for me to find analysts that have a good track record that actually think that's probable. And I'm happy to share those opinions. I'm happy to share diverse viewpoints. And if he's right, all the credit in the world to him. I'll just note that even if that happens, in his estimation, that is not the end of the run for XRP. No, not at all. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom. XRP order book analysis. Books remain thin until $2 on Coinbase and Binance. So more selling won't be met with resistance until then. And so, my friends, I understand that over the last 24 hours, you've seen XRP drop a fair bit from wherever, $2.20, $2.25, whatever it was, down to closer to $2 as of the time that I'm recording this anyway. But that has to do with the order books. It has to do with the quantity of buyers and sellers at particular levels. So, yeah, I mean, if you lose that, you could see an even more notable drop like Credible Crypto is talking about right now. I'm just noting that the price action that you've seen, that's why this is normal. It has to do with the order books, which is why I always appreciate these updates from Dom, because I just don't think a lot of people understand that. Right? But so anyway, he says, more selling won't be met with resistance until then, that $2 mark, which is, right, we're above it at least at the time I'm recording this. It says on the flip side, books are also thin back up to $2.50. So whoever wants to be aggressive here will win. Sellers in control right now. We can see order book skews have flipped positive, but not yet at high levels we have seen in the last month. Most of the selling the last few hours has been from the perp market, not spot holders. Seems like XRP is just trading lockstep to Bitcoin here. There is no abnormal selling coming in specific to XRP. And that's certainly the case. I mean, if you take a look at the last 24 hours here on XRP versus Bitcoin, you can see some of the more notable moves. They're happening pretty much at the same time here. That's pretty normal in crypto, frankly. So he does say, sellers in control right now, but that doesn't mean we need to be panicking here. Here's a post from chart analyst Greg Crypto. He says, XRP inverse head and shoulders update key levels. Current measured move. We maintain our target range of $3.70 to $3.90. The likelihood of reaching the upper end of the channel is significant, provided certain conditions are met. We should not close a daily candle below $2. So, folks, there's another analyst citing that level. And by the way, I'm only highlighting a few in this video, but there are tons of analysts talking about the significance of this level. This $2 level. Anyway, but he says, if this occurs, we might see a fair value gap that could serve as a temporary wick, but should ideally rebound quickly. Okay, now to me, that sounds in line kind of with what chart analyst Credible Crypto was talking about. Getting out of maybe that $1.60 to $1.80 range. That's what Credible Crypto was saying. Then he says, this pattern can remain valid until April 20th, 2025. Number one, as far as action steps is what he's labeling these. Number one, target of $2.65. This level needs to flip and hold as support. Number two, mid-channel resistance. A close above $3 would be an important milestone. And three, critical level. We should aim to close above the $3.20 to $3.40 range. And then number four, upper target. If we reach $4.60 and begin to see weakness, this could indicate a potential distribution phase, distribution schematic number one, which is a scenario that raises concern. I will share an updated chart for further insights on this. So there's no concern at this moment here, and I'm consistently seeing that from the analysts that I'm following. In fact, this is just from a few hours ago. This is from today, March 29th at 3:52 a.m., so just a few hours ago. So there's nothing broken here. The point is, like, there's nothing broken here. In fact, other analysts have been noting that XRP is actually kind of hitting oversold territory. This is a post from trade analyst Stuff is Crypto. He says XRP is extremely oversold. Ignore the bears. A big bounce is coming. And that was at 4:08 a.m. Central Time. So just about 3 hours ago. And you can see the relative strength index getting at these lower levels here. He's not the only one that was talking about this. Here's one more example. This is from Dark Defender. And this is in the afternoon, late afternoon yesterday. And XRP price was slightly higher at the time, but already directionally moving to the downside. And he said XRP is hugely oversold on the 4-hour time frame. $2.22 is the key. So we're obviously lower than that. And if a cryptocurrency is oversold or overbought, it can maintain that status for a while. But eventually, like if you're talking to the downside, markets find bottoms, my friend. Like markets will always find bottoms, even local bottoms here, as we're discussing. So we'll see what happens, but this is frankly not a time to be scared. Like to me, this is a time to be excited. And so there's no way I can know for sure what's going to happen. And maybe the bears are actually right. And this time actually is different. In which case I'll be like, that sucks. That's weird. But it's never happened before in history, but okay, that happens. And then what I would do in that case is with new money that I earn, if we're going to enter the depths of a bear market, then I'll just accumulate even more. I got to put the new money I earned somewhere anyway, so I'll just accumulate even more crypto, and then I'll just wait till the next time we have a bull run, and then maybe I'll sell then. So either way, this is not something to be fearful about. The opportunity's still there. It'd be kind of disappointing because I am expecting to be able to sell the vast majority, if not all, of my crypto this cycle, including my XRP. But since I can't control that, I just think this is the right outlook when it comes to investing. Then okay, I'll just sell whenever the opportunity presents it, and I'll just increase the size of my position in the meantime. Like even if it takes years from here, like that's the right attitude. Those who have extreme patience and a long time horizon when it comes to investing are the people who win. And that concept is true in the stock market as well. This is just very obvious stuff. It's just people, I understand people don't like that, and fair enough. Everybody wants their Lambos now. I got it. But this is how it works. And the people that have that mindset, those are the ones who win. Okay? So either you have exposure when the fun stuff happens or you don't. So you can panic sell if you want. I'm not telling you what to do. But this market's going to be so much bigger if you fast forward another decade from now. Can you imagine? We just don't know exactly when it's going to be, and also to what degree. But yeah, way bigger than this. I can't imagine not having exposure to this. I can't imagine not being excited for the future here, even though in the short term, like we're at now, I understand it's less fun for people, but that's why I'm trying to help you to get your mind right here. Do whatever's best for you. I don't know what's best for you. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense to be fearful on days like this. There's so much opportunity. Just have a proper time horizon, and I think we go and get ours. Now, all that said, though, if I had to bet right now, I think we absolutely do enter price discovery for XRP this market cycle. Face-melting price discovery. I will not be surprised if all these analysts calling for double-digit price action for XRP. I will not be the least bit surprised if that indeed does come to pass. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.